Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh, and whatever special guest he has today, you can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good, and follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. We have another good one for you. It's a repeat guest. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was the first guest that we ever recorded at Party Time, My Golf Story. Now, the first guest that aired was Christian Bartolacci, the commissioner of the West Florida Golf Tour, who we hitched our wagon to and had his help in getting some of the pros on his tour to come on and tell their life stories. And so Kyle Rhodes is back, and he was due to come back just based on time, just catching up. How's everything going? But he gave us another reason to come back on. He shot a 59 this past summer. Now, you may remember, or if you don't, we're going to rehash something else. He shot a 58 prior to that. So he is in the rare air of the 59 club and the 58 club. So I'm going to coin a little nickname for him. We're going to call him Mr. 50s or Señor Cincuentas. I kind of think Mr. 50s might stick a little bit better. Kyle's a good guy. He's been around the block. He has a resurgence in his career and a lot of cool things to talk about. So we're going to bring him on board in just a minute. Now, an update on the show, just where it is in terms of numbers and how you can help out as well. We're now at 9,500 subscribers, and we have 280,000 views on YouTube. We're also on Spotify and Apple and all those other things, but YouTube is the king on that. Big thanks to everybody for making that happen, sharing the show with others, and just tuning in and liking it. I mean, that was the point of the goal when we started the podcast, is find interesting people and have them share their stories, a deep personal dive into who they are, what makes them tick, what they're doing, where they're going, yada, yada, yada. If you haven't subscribed, please do that, because that helps the nerds at YouTube, because they like to keep track of that. It also helps our title sponsors to know that this is worth doing. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you are indulging on the golf course and you're a little tired of beer or hard seltzers, then try Party. I think you'll like it a lot, especially Transfusion. And we have a new customer on board, Tatum Ridge Golf Club in Sarasota. So welcome aboard and enjoy Party on the golf course. And if your dream is to live in a golf resort community like Lakewood National Golf Club, where this podcast originates from, nobody better to help you out than Vince Vizzacaro and Gene Walsh from suncoastdreams.com, a division of Fine Properties. Got all your real estate needs, especially in golf communities, covered in the greater Sarasota area. All right, so enough of that stuff. Let's bring Mr. 50s on board. Do you like it?
I love that. It's up to you to do something so creative. I really appreciate that. But first, I want to say and applaud you, honestly, for your growth. 9,500 subscribers is no joke on YouTube, and that's simply from one, a good show, and two, consistency. So applauding you for your passion and continuing to do this. I'm proud of you. Nice work.
Oh, you're so nice. But
the best is ahead. The best is ahead.
Yes, for me and for you. But you know the grind of producing content that people are going to want to watch, the effort in attracting a following. And I think once you get something and you're like, hey, it's deeply personal, it's useful stuff, and it's time well spent. That's the magic. And then you just got to keep going. Am I on to something? I mean, you did this before I did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worthwhile, and just do what excites you the most, whether that's interview style like this, or maybe for me, it was, coming up with ways that I can teach people and help them with their games. That excited me the most. So I went all in on that. There's really no wrong way to do it, but you definitely got to be passionate about whatever it is you're trying to create content on, because it does, require a lot of editing and time. And so if you don't love it, you're not going to stick to it. And a lot of people give up too soon just because of the consistency required. So you got to be, you're on the right path.
Oh, Sounds good. Dude, I'm so proud of you. Let me just say, I am so damn proud of you because of what you've accomplished. And I know how hard you work. And you were really honest with me the last time you were on the program talking about crying in the car, missed cuts, kind of transitioning into life away from competitive golf. But then you shoot a 59. And so are we back on board? Are we chasing it? What's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. The 59 was middle of the summer. It was in July. I would say really this itch to start competing full time again started at U.S. Open sectionals in early June, and then when July happened, when I shot 65, 59 in the PGA Stableford, was 20 under for 2 days. That was kind of like the moment that I went, you know what, this is what I want to be doing. And so, yeah, it's definitely comeback season. I think, obviously I give lessons, and I've been caddying and the content stuff, but I got sick of getting asked the question, oh, you're a professional. So, what tour are you on? And constantly having to answer that question. Oh, well, I'm not on any tour, full well knowing that my game is that level. So it's kind of a chip that I am now playing with just to kind of, I guess, one, prove to myself first and foremost, but also, prove to others what I know, what's within me. So my focus, just keep getting better. And I think that'll all be shown here soon, but definitely comeback season. I feel glad to be back in the competitive ring as my main focus. And I'm really, really excited. I got a new coach. I got some new workout stuff that I'm doing, just like everything, a new sponsorship with Game Above. So everything's kind of aligning for me to really take off in 25. And I'm excited to be focused and play a lot of tournaments.
Kyle Rhodes is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story. I love what you just said, because you're not just saying it. I know you believe it, and I believe in you too. And I know there are others that believe in you and have helped you out to get in a position where you can focus more on the competitive golf. And because for a lot of mini tour pros, it's tough making ends meet. Entry level fees are very high. So you got to give lessons, you got to caddy or whatever. We'll get into that in just a minute, but I want to timestamp this for a couple of reasons. It's Saturday night, 7:30 at night, December 28th. I'll ask you about how your Christmas was. I take it was great, but is there something wrong with us in our social lives that we're recording a podcast on a Saturday night?
I know, or we're just old, one of the two. Either we're old or we have no social life. But I'm going to flip that into a positive way. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're just focused. You're focused on building the show. I'm focused on being the best golfer I can be. We'll go with that. Instead of losers, let's just call ourselves focused and determined.
Thank you. I feel so much better about myself.
Good. That's what I'm here for.
So let's get into the 59. I mean, what happened? I mean, you shot 65 before, so you must have been feeling good.
Yep.
Yeah. So pick it up. Walk me through it.
Yeah, I think, I'd been playing really well. I shot 65 the first round. And my mentality going into round two was foot on the gas mentality. And I set a goal at the beginning of the round. I wanted to make 8 birdies, which is an aggressive goal. But I just wanted to keep the foot on the gas mentality, because the reality is in professional golf, I knew like it's not good enough these days to go and have one good round. Like if you really want to compete, you got to have 1, 2, 3, 4 good rounds in a row. And so that was kind of my mentality. I'm like, all right, like you can't be satisfied because you played well round one. Like you got to keep the foot on the gas. And so that's that is pretty much what happened. They're actually interesting. There was a big thing within the round that could have thrown me off, but it didn't. After my 15th hole, we had a 3-hour storm delay in which I sat on the cart, didn't hit any balls. Everyone's, in the tournament's kind of coming up to me because we had live scoring and they knew what I was doing. And at that point, I was 11 under through 15. And they were, commenting on my score. And I had just sat down for 3 hours, and we had about 20 minutes to warm back up and went back out. And I finished birdie, par, birdie, had 10 feet for eagle on the last, and kind of just lagged it up there and tapped it in. But
I don't blame you. I don't blame you because you have 59. But in that 3 hours, I didn't know this. All right. So aside from people coming up and saying things, where are you trying to be mentally in this? Or are you checked out for a little bit, or are you locked in? Help me out.
There were some great guys around that I was just having conversations with. I wasn't thinking about my score a whole lot. It's just having good chats with different people, meeting some different people as well. But it was kind of a mode that day where I don't think anything was going to really be able to throw me off. Like you're already in a mindset where you're not scared. You're not playing scared. If you're playing that well, you're just confident. And so I think that confidence just really was the big factor.
Man, you were not going to be denied on that day. I got to get in that headspace. If I can borrow some of that, would you send it my way? I could certainly use it.
I'll
so tell me that. I think we've talked about this before, but were you doing math in your head? Do you know where you are in relation to par that whole round, or are you just thinking birdies?
No, I would definitely say later in the round, I started to know more. There's definitely, I call golf like a moving meditation. And so when you get what's the goal of meditation? It's to really be in the present moment and be in your body. And maybe in meditation, you're thinking of breathing. I do some of that on the golf course as well, but it was this flow, obviously everyone talks about flow state. I think of golf as a moving meditation. And so, no, I was just pretty much in the moment on each shot. And because of that, I was able to then collect a whole lot of birdies, 13 of them. And so I wasn't really thinking about the score.
I trust that you were not live Instagramming this time around. I still can't get my head wrapped around that when you shot 58 and you were live Instagramming the whole time. I mean, to me, that sounds like the dumbest thing ever until you explain to me, it's like, well, this is what 28 and 29-year-olds do. And so I guess that's kind of normal, but you didn't do it this time, did you?
No. The difference, I'll say, the 58 wasn't practice. This felt good to get because it was in a tournament, a PGA, North Florida PGA event. So it was felt a little more official. I mean, obviously, still nice to do it in practice, but it felt good to do it in competition. And I mean, I'd say, there were some texts sent out. I was supposed to give a lesson actually that afternoon after the round. But during that 3-hour delay, I'm like, sorry, not going to be able to make the lesson. But so there was definitely a few messages sent out, kind of like last time, but way more focused.
So hold on. You're sending texts to people. You're like, I'm 10 under on my round.
Well,
right now?
just my client and my dad, I think, or
Oh my God. I
one guy came up to me.
That's your normal. That's your normal. Okay. I guess I get it, but
no. 59 is far from normal. But it was a good day. But no, it was pretty funny. One guy came up to me on the range when we were warming up to go back out. And he's like, dude, what course are you playing today? Because I'm not playing the same course that you are. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, did the 58 and I don't downplay that at all. Even if you say, oh, it was a practice round,
Sure.
58's 58. Come on. Mm-hmm. Did that help you with the 59?
That's a good question. It probably did. It probably did. In the moment, I definitely it didn't really cross my mind. Actually, I think throughout the whole day, I didn't go, well, I've done this before, so I can do it again. That's interesting. No, that really didn't cross my mind. But I would have to say probably somewhere in the back of my head, I did have more comfort knowing I have shot sub 60 before. But this is going to be, actually, I'm not even going to say that. That'll come across so wrong. All right, I'm going to say it. I can't say that now. Yeah, I literally, when I had 10 feet on the last for 58, I have shot 58 at that time. I had shot 58, 60, 61, 62, all the way up to, 100 or whatever. And I'm like, I don't have a 59. I kind of don't want to shoot 58. I want a 59. Probably not true. I definitely would have wanted to make that putt. But part of me was like, I want to have every score from 58 to 100 or whatever the highest round.
Well,
I've ever shot is.
it's like a staircase, but the rare air that you're in, the only other person that I'm aware of that shot in the 50s twice is Jim Furyk, and he shot a 58 and 59 as well. So obviously, I mean, aside from everything, I'm assuming your putting was especially hot. Was there something else that was clicking?
Yeah, actually, I did just check back on my stats from that round because I keep stats throughout the year. And that round, I hit 12 of 14 fairways. Obviously, the two that I missed weren't in any trouble. I hit 18 of 18 greens. I had 26 putts, 10 one putts. So yeah, I mean, but to be honest, I think the longest putt I made was maybe 18 feet. My approach shots were, I remember, pretty on point, which in practice now I've been playing a game called Worst Ball, and you have to hit 2 shots everywhere and play your worst. And it really makes you realize that like scoring really is so much related to proximity to the hole. Yes, like when I shot 58, I made 260 feet a putt. I knew because at the time, my routine, I paced off my putts and then after thought it through of how many feet I made. I don't know how many feet of putts I made in the 59, but I do remember hitting it a lot closer that day. Still got to make the putts. Like those 6 to 10 footers are, important putts. But I definitely wasn't making bombs. So proximity to the hole was pretty dialed in.
Yeah, sounds like it. Tell me about you shooting a 62, and then Sean Jacklin, who's a past guest on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks and the Golf Real Estate Pros of Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzicaros on coastdreams.com. So you shoot a 62. You got to be feeling great about yourself. The guy next seat over in the golf cart drops a 60. What happened?
Yeah, no, that was incredible. It was funny. Like we're buddies. Sean and I have competed so many times, and we were talking basically the whole front 9. We were both playing really well. I think he was 6 under and I was like 5 under or something like that on the front. And then things got pretty quiet on the back 9 as we both just kept making birdie and birdie and birdie. And then things by the last 4 holes where there wasn't much talking going on in the cart. We both knew kind of what was going on. We both equally were pushing each other. Like I was trying to catch him and he was trying to stay ahead, and his putter was hot. I remember 16. I don't remember the distance, but it's about 220 par 3. I hit it to like 30 feet. He hit it to like 29 feet right in front of me on the same line. And I think I'm 1 or 2 back at this point of him. And I dropped the 30 footer. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm getting one back here. And then boom, he drops his 29 footer right behind me. I'm like, gosh. So yeah, props to him. That was cool. I thought after that, I'm like, I don't know if anyone else in the world had a cart that was 22 under today. I think I could maybe say that was probably the only cart that was 22 under.
Probably. But it's not all Valentine's, buddy. Let's talk about some difficult times because you shared that on the last show. Played on the Canadian Tour, missing cuts, wondering what you're doing with your life and everything. But recently, and I loved it. Kyle is a very interesting follow on Instagram and has some 40,000 followers. And I'd suggest for all of our viewers and listeners to take a deep dive because all of his stuff is really interesting. But when you were at Q school and you're in the car after you shot 79 in the 3rd round, you just kind of talked a little bit. What happened in that 3rd round? Because you were hot and then all of a sudden you hit a wall and you felt the need to, I don't say vent. You weren't. You were just explaining what was going on. Take me back.
Yeah. So obviously Q school, there's more pressure than any other event throughout the year. And one quick correction, you mentioned me playing on the Canadian Tour. I actually have never played on the Canadian Tour. I've in fact never had status on any PGA Tour sanctioned tour. And so that's partially where the chip that I mentioned has kind of come from, that I'm now playing with, wanting to prove that my game is that caliber, even though I haven't been out there. But anyway, there's, a lot of pressure in Q school, and obviously you're trying to earn status and have a path to the PGA Tour. And having the first 2 rounds under my belt, I was inside the number. It was like the top 19 advanced, and I was in like 18th or 19th place. So I was good. And, well, I shouldn't say I was good. There were still 2 rounds of work left, but I really wasn't playing well. I wasn't playing free. I wasn't playing confidently. I was playing tentative. It was the most tentative golf I had played all summer, which was a bit frustrating. And then the 3rd round, I guess everything kind of just was exposed, really, the way I was playing. I think I hit 2 or 3 balls out of play off the tee, and that's a good way to make some big numbers. Kind of realized that's pretty much the only way to make big numbers is if you're spraying your drive. And so
is it pressure, Kyle? Is that what it was?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It was my first time to Q school in 5 years. I think, like I said, Q school is a different type of pressure, but ultimately that's not an excuse because, if you're a professional golfer, you need to improve on managing your anxiety and handling the pressure. That's like a big piece of the game. And so I'm not going to call that an excuse. I've executed under pressure many times before, but yeah, I mean, that week I just wasn't swinging it nice, but I mean, I immediately bounced back and started working with a new coach, and we're on a good path. And so, I turned it into a positive. And as for the video you're referring to of me in the car, kind of venting, I guess, that's just me trying to be real. And, I think I'm really grateful. I have a number of people like supporting me and kind of following my journey. And I think being real and being honest is relatable. And I mean, I'm just trying to like really inspire people and show them that like, all right, I failed, but I'm not going to slow down. Like I'm going to keep trying to get better and I'm going to press on. And like, my hope is that someone sees that and goes, yeah, I'm going to keep going too. I was ready to quit, or I was ready to give up because this was really tough, but you know what? Kyle's going to keep going. I'm going to follow that lead. I really, that's kind of where that was coming from.
Yeah, I loved it. It was honest. It was raw.
Yeah.
You're in the car. It's like a tight shot of your face. Folks, go back and look at it. He's just talking right in the camera. It's just like a confessional. So
mindset is important for success. Mindset is,
right.
I think it gave some insight into a mindset that is required. Like you fail a ton of times. And so you got to be able to persevere.
Yeah. Listen, failure just opens the door for success. And you know exactly. What? We all fail. What the heck? Just soldier on. So good things are ahead. I see the hat, the GA game above. I saw you chipping balls on the field at Ford Field during what turned out to be an epic bowl game.
Yeah, sure was.
What's next for you? You have some help, which I think lightens the load on some of the side hustles you had to do. What can you share about Game Above?
Yeah, Game Above is a new sponsor that I have. They're an incredible team of individuals that really their whole thing is they're just trying to their tagline, I guess you would call it, is bring forth greatness. And so they're involved in entertainment and like documentaries. They're involved in sports. They had the Game Above Sports Bowl this past week up in Detroit. They're really a philanthropic brand that is really helping my alma mater, Eastern Michigan University, the city of Detroit. It's really an incredible thing they're doing up there. They're helping a lot of youth. The thing that I was doing on Ford Field for the Game Above Sports Bowl was I was hitting 6 shots on the field, in which each shot that I made into the target, they would increase their donation to the first tee of Detroit. And so that's just like an incredible thing. That was an opportunity that came to me pretty much right after I signed. They asked me if I wanted to go on the field and do that. And I immediately was like, absolutely. One, because I knew it'd be a great opportunity for growth, like mentally preparing for being out on the field, hitting shots in front of everyone. Again, like I'm trying to play on the PGA Tour, so you got to handle the pressure at some point. And then the other thing, quite simply, you can see actually I'm wearing a Detroit Lions shirt here right now. Huge Lions fan. My dad, my whole life, has had season tickets until 2 years ago when they started really crushing it, but that's a whole nother story. And so I'd be at games with my dad and I'd look down on the field and we'd always joke like, man, that's like a lob wedge from goal line to goal line. Like, and kind of dreamed about hitting golf shots on a football field. And that came true. And it's just like, I'm so grateful to be able to have done that. There's 6 sponsored athletes currently with Game Above, 5 of them being past EMU golfers, Eastern Michigan golfers. And I was the lucky one this year. I'm sure someone else will get the chance next year, but Game Above continues to do a bunch of amazing things and create really cool opportunities for all of us. So, their goal is to help us be able to focus on our career professionally and be true professionals and work on our game. But they also give us a lot of cool experiences like I had on Ford Field. So really excited to be partnered with them.
You should be. And a lot of these Eastern Michigan guys or some of them were your teammates. Is the band kind of getting back together here?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty cool. I was just talking to guys at the game about this. Like, golf's such an individual sport, tennis, golf, you're on an island and everything's on you. And, being at that football game, I'm like, dang, like, I kind of, enjoy a team element of things. And college golf is cool because of that. And now that we're all professional golfers, we're pretty much on this Game Above team now. That's the way it feels. Like, obviously each one of us individually want to be the best player, and we all want to achieve our dreams, but individually, we also support each other. And that's really cool to have that. And I think it's like healthy competition that's going to really push each one of us to continue to get better. So I think that's
because when you guys were playing
better than ever.
Yeah, that's cool. And pushing each other too, because when you were playing together, you're trying to kick each other's asses too.
Well, exactly. And it's a different type of stress because there's no more like qualifying. Like, college golf can be stressful, man, when you're constantly trying to qualify and make the lineup. And now it's like, obviously you're trying to, qualifiers never end in the life of a professional golfer. I guess once you're on the PGA Tour, even then you're trying to qualify for the playoffs or whatever. So, yeah, it's different. We're not trying to qualify to make the team anymore. Now we're trying to take it to the highest level, but it's really, really cool to be a part of together.
Yeah, back to the Ford Field thing. Just a couple questions. Let's just rip through a couple. How nervous were you hitting the shots?
Before was more nervous, kind of like giving a speech, like the 20 minutes or 30 minutes right before your speech, like you're quite nervous. And then the speech starts and you kind of relax. I felt that way, like definitely nervous as the clock's ticking down in the first quarter, because I went out there between the first and second quarter. And then once I got down on the field and kind of started swinging the club in my hands, like, of course I was nervous. But it definitely was more relaxing. Like, once I got out there and just kind of got into what I've done a million times. Like, Jake Bates is the kicker for the Lions currently. And he said something that I love, because I think kickers, NFL kickers, like, that's a very mental position. There's a lot of mental, similar to golf. And he said something once in a press conference. He was like, I just try not to make the moment bigger than it is. And that perspective, I tried to copy. And so I'm just, tried to keep it as casual as I could in my mind, and realize, like, ultimately how big or how small of an event it actually is really decided by me in my own mind. So I just tried to dumb it down a little bit and go, I've done this. I've hit golf shots all the time. Just go hit shots. Now, it was foam balls. I will say I had about 10 practice reps before the game. So obviously that throws your feel completely off, but we made it work. You got to adjust.
You made it work, and you raised $20,000 for First Tee of Detroit. Good for you. Did you rush the field after the game? Did you lead the charge? What a game, right?
I know. Was it 5 or 6 overtimes? It's definitely been the best bowl game so far. No, didn't rush the field. Was pulling for Toledo, though, another MAC school. I guess the reason I did not rush the field is because Game Above spoils us, and they had me up in a suite, so I wasn't down by the field. I did go. My family came to the game, and I sat with them for a while, and they've always supported me, and I love them to death. So that was good to see them. But no, Game Above spoiling us, had us up in a suite, so not on the field.
Man, I gotta hitch my wagon to you and go to the next game with and sit in the game above suite. That sounds like good
I know.
stuff.
I'm definitely
Put in a
grateful.
good put in a good word for your boy here. Let's talk about your Instagram videos. I think they're great. There was one that really stood out to me where you talked about just accepting that a good round can go bad at any time. And I just thought that was so pithy because it's just like,
Mm.
well, yeah, it can happen. So deal with it. And then you've thought about it. Maybe you can move on instead of trying to hold back and like focus so hard on where you are.
Mhm.
But in general, like all your videos, they seem very thoughtful, pithy, not too much, just enough. Walk me through the creative process and in what you decide this is good, and then how you try to boil it down in, shall we say, just scrumptious little bites.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the creative process is definitely something I'm working on. I have a long list of ideas on my phone. When they come to me, I slap them into a note on my phone. But as for my process when I show up to the course, I mean, I have my tripod, and sometimes I have a plan for a video. And then a lot of the times, some of my best videos are more things that kind of just like hit me more impromptu and they come out more naturally that way. It's definitely something I'm working on. And I'm going to be doing a lot more content this upcoming year, kind of documenting my journey and sharing how I practice and how I basically am trying to get to that highest level. And that'll be helpful for a lot of people. So I'm excited of what I can share there. But as for how I come up with the ideas, I mean, caddying is definitely helpful. I'll be doing a lot less of that, even lessons. But I watch people play golf, and you pretty quickly get ideas of, oh, okay, we don't want to do that. So that's an idea. How can I? What are common mistakes I'm seeing, and come up with tips that way. But
tell me this though, for like 30 seconds of video,
mm-hmm.
how much time do you think was spent by the time you shoot it, edit it, think it through? It's much more time. It's not 30 seconds of work.
No, hours, 5+ hours for a 30-second video. I mean, I was always like slow doing homework and slow in school, like got good grades, but was slow to do my work. And so maybe I'm slower than someone else could. I don't want to discourage people from creating content, but I mean, I try to have great details, the shot tracer and the text in the top, and then the thoughtful message that I'm sharing. Like I'm really trying to share useful information and make it quality stuff. You could have it take way less time if you just did less editing. So, but for me, it takes quite a while. That's why you got to be excited about doing it. Otherwise, you're going to quickly give up on it.
Yeah, it'll burn you out, but you fuss over details, and I like that. And it kind of reminds me, like when people talk about a sermon in church or whatever it is, for every minute that you're speaking, that's like an hour of work. So that might square what you're talking about, the amount of time with what is the produced content. Kyle Rhodes is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try Party and Transfusion. And by the way, if you're in the golf business and you're like, hey, we need to get some of that stuff on our golf course, then Paradise Craft is the exclusive distributor across the state of Florida. The number is on your screen right now, and you can look it up and get that at your place. We got a lot of folks that already sponsor us, and their locations have been scrolling across the bottom. All right, Kyle, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. You're a gym rat, and I know that because you used to live at Lakewood National Golf Club, and I'd see you just really getting after it in the gym. Good on you. I didn't know about the running stuff, but you've taken up long distance running and marathons. How does that help your golf? And do you play a round of golf ever in your head when you're on those long runs?
A couple things. Number one, props to you as well, again, because the only way you're seeing me in the gym means you're in the gym. So nice work. And number two, I like that perspective. I like that idea of like playing around as I'm running. I actually haven't done that. But that's a good idea. I could use that. But I would say any sort of endurance training, doesn't have to be running, is great for golf because, again, how do you run a long distance, you have to kind of be able to quiet your mind and get lost in the moment you're in. And how do you go low in golf? You have to quiet your mind and get lost in the moment you're in. And so very much relatable there. And I think running and endurance also just helps you get out of your comfort zone. And I think that's another ingredient in golf that's important. Getting more comfortable being uncomfortable. So many reasons, honestly. And then obviously just golf's a sport. Like, you need cardiovascular fitness to be able to, at the end of a 72 hole tournament or even an 18 hole day, be firing on all cylinders late in a round or late in a tournament. So there's so many reasons. I love it, mostly the mental stuff that you get from training that way. And the other thing is, as for non-running stuff, I just switched. I switched from working out the way you would see me a lot at Lakewood National to now I'm actually training like a golfer. I would be doing in the past, pull-ups and bench press and, lunges, and like, that's all good. And I believe in general fitness is important for any athlete, but now I'm actually training. I did a TPI screen, learned some imbalances in my body, and I'm actually training for better golf performance. And so that's been a big difference, improving my balance, improving how my feet and ankles move, and a lot of details that matter when you're trying to maximize your game. And so I'm excited about that.
More flexibility stuff and less just muscle mass, just pumping on like an animal.
Rotational. Yeah, exactly. Less pumping like an animal and more like rotational training, like a rotational athlete.
Got it. All right, Kyle, last question. We're getting toward the end here. If you had one tip to give a player of any ability that would help their game, what would it be in like a minute or less?
Yeah. One tip. I would say that I see so many people play golf for a long time and they struggle for a long time because they're scared to everyone's always worried about thinking too much. Oh, I don't want to think too much. And so what that prevents them from doing is trying to gain any sort of understanding of what's actually causing your hook or what's actually causing your slice for you, not what a YouTube video tells you, but specifically for you in your swing. Gaining an understanding of what's actually causing your miss. You have to think about it. It requires some thinking, or really you need professional guidance to tell you what's actually going wrong, but not being afraid to do that. And then once you understand that, be more willing to be uncomfortable and try it and fail and try it and fail and stick at it long enough. Because too many people, one, don't even try. They're too worried about thinking too much. And then if they do try, they try it for one practice session, it doesn't go well, and they're like, oh, done. Versus, I'm not going to do that. Versus, honestly, the best players I know, amateur and professional, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, and then you succeed. And it's then you do that again and you do that again. And so it's largely a mentality. You got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. But it really blows my mind how some people avoid that, and they play golf for 30 years and they continue to have the same mistakes and struggle. You can't, nobody wants to do that. So be willing to think. You're not going to think too much. Don't worry. You can just gain an understanding of what is going wrong specifically for you on your misses, and you'll be on a much better path. And that was way longer than 60 seconds, but I think it was important for people to hear. So
I was with you the whole way. Know your swing, know what's messing it up, and know how to fix it. Own it.
Yeah.
Own it. Hey, buddy. You just keep owning golf, all right? And you keep owning the 50s. Mr. 50s.
Thank you for that nickname. I love that.
Hey, listen, man. Yep. You can choose either one. You can trademark it. It's all you. But just remember, came from me, your buddy, trying to help you out.
Always.
Listen, Kyle, I wish you nothing but success. I think you're on a really good path. You got good support behind you with the folks from Game Above. I know you got a good family behind you, and man, just keep grinding your old Cole off. And that's not hard for you to do. I know you like to work hard. and have some fun along the way. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. That's really what I got back to, is just having fun. So,
I know.
Thank you.
Well, let's play some golf.
Yeah, love to. Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you for having me on. Really enjoy talking shop with you. All right.
Come on, man. Come on back. Shoot another 50, and then we come on back and we'll break that one down. Right?
Love it. Love it.
There's
my ticket to your show. That's the only
that is your ticket to the show, right? All right. Hey, big thanks to our title sponsors, Party Drinks, and also Vince Vizicaro and Gene Walsh from suncoaststreams.com. For more on Kyle, follow him on Instagram and keep an eye out for him because good times are ahead. For Kyle Rhodes, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, my golf story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoaststreams.com or call 941-220-4000.
Our fans, it's now time for the Game of Sports for Chipmo contest. We're down the field with Kyle Rhodes, who has 6 attempts to hit 3 targets down here on the field. He's going to be using the 60-degree angle on his pitching wedge just in case. Now, if he successfully hits the first target, Game of Sports will donate $15,000 to the first tee of Greater Detroit. If he hits the second target, it's $20,000, and if he hits the third, it'll be a $25,000 donation. Game of is already putting up $10,000 to get us into the pot early. All right, Kyle, you ready? Fans, are you ready? Let's hear it for Kyle. 6 shots. Here we go. First target, 15,000. Up 15 yards away. First attempt is up. It's on the target. It's good. We've got at least 15,000. Now we're going for the $20,000 target near the 10-yard line. Let's get some golf claps in here, folks. Come on. Oh, yes, the gallery, they love it. Second attempt is up. It's on point. It's a little long, a little left. We got a little bit of time here remaining. Kyle Rhodes, 60-degree wedge. About 25 yards out. Rhodes. Now we got 4 attempts to hit about 40 yards in that $25,000 donation flag there in the end zone. In only about 90 seconds to do so. Sorry, I'm trying to use my indoor golf voice. That one was close. Remember, if it hits the flag, lands on the target, bounces on the target, spins on the target, doesn't matter. All it's got to do is hit that target. Second attempt is up. Oh, so close. He's got 2 more attempts. They can feel it. It's just like being a waste management. Attempt number 5. It's up. It's headed in. He likes it. So close. So close. We got 2 targets now. We've got at least 20,000 in. Fans, make some noise for Kyle Rhodes. Here's our donation. We got